Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Achilles Financial, and today we have a slew of earnings this week, and we've got some big movers and some of my favorite stocks that I like to play. As you can see here on the screen, some of the stocks that have earnings this week that I am going to be watching is tomorrow morning, Monday, before hours, we've got JD.com. They are going to be announcing earnings. Going to be watching that, as you can see by the stocks I'm looking to play. I've also am going to be watching on Tuesday before hours. We've got Walmart, Home Depot, and Kohl's, as well as after hours NIO. And NIO is a stock that is incredibly popular following a lot of the Chinese EV stocks last week. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to be watching Target and Lowe's. Really going to be watching them based off of how well Walmart and Home Depot do. And then after hours on Wednesday is Nvidia and Bilibili. One of the reasons I'm going to be watching Nvidia is because they've been trading in this range, and I think we may finally have that breakout moment that we've been waiting for. So that leads me into the stocks I'm looking to play is going to be JD.com, Nvidia, and NIO. And it's going to be a mixture of options and shares on these three stocks. So let's dive into it. So JD.com is a stock we've played multiple times on the channel, and I'm interested to see how well they perform. They are an online retailer, and they have been absolutely killing it this year. They're Chinese-based and are going to be doing very well. The stock, as you can see, has just shot up again over the past week. That's one of the reasons I'm going to be hesitant to be playing them. As you can see, they kind of did this down up, and this is based off of the Alibaba Singles Day that happened last week. So it's their kind of version of the Amazon Prime Day. So it's basically how can we get this Black Friday-esque feeling without it being Black Friday. So that's what we saw last week. And as you can see, that price point has just shot up. And I don't see this as a stock, and I could be wrong on this, that's going to hit $100 by the end of the week. The expectation is that the earnings are going to be incredible. And you can already see just based off this year that they've already gone up more than 100%. So I'm going to be hesitant to play them. What I may be looking to do is an iron condor. So an iron condor option strategy is when you don't expect the stock to move a lot. So because of the high range, what I may do is something between $80 and $90. I haven't looked at this yet, but I am not going to be making a play until after they announce earnings, because they announce earnings tomorrow before hours. So what I'm actually looking to do is either A, play that continuation, or B, just kind of hold in place and say, hey, I don't expect them to move a lot. But this is a company that's been doing really, really well. And even from the earnings expectations, you can see that they're expecting more of the same last quarter. Now, the reason that I show you this particular chart is Zach, it doesn't look like they're going to be doing a lot better than they did last quarter. Well, you can see from the quarter beforehand that it almost doubled in terms of earnings per share. And you can see that continuation from what we saw last year, that Q2 was just a massive increase. So this is a company that's well positioned to do well going forward. So let's look at Nvidia. So Nvidia, much of the same going into earnings. They are expected to do incredibly well. I want to highlight that their earnings per share is expected to go up over $3 a share next year. And I think that may be something we see in either Q3 or Q4 earnings. And we could expect a blowout. It really depends on how well they did on the gaming side. But this is a company that is just in a really good spot going forward. And so because of that, I anticipate that I'm going to be watching them, because I just have a lot of faith in the company. I am very long on Nvidia. And from a chart perspective, what I'm looking to do is either play the options or the shares. It's really going to depend on tomorrow morning how expensive they are. But if you look over the past month, you can see that they've had these wide swings. This doesn't look too crazy until you look at the price point over on the right-hand side. They've been as low as $500 a share, and they've been as high as, and this doesn't even show, they've been up to $595 to $604 a share. So that's a pretty huge range, and this is what I'm looking to play. So they've got some really good options prices right now on the 580 options and the 600 options. I'm really looking at that 580 play. However, recognizing that they're incredibly volatile, and those are just the options trades for this Friday, what I'm going to be looking at is, do I want to purchase shares instead? So I could purchase 3 shares for just under $1,600. However, if the stock does go up to 580 or to 600, then you'd be looking at a 10 to 12% return if I sold them out after earnings. Or I could just decide to start trying to build a position there. However, I don't like to have that type of cash lined up unless I have 100 shares, and I frankly just don't have enough to build a $53,000 position right now. So that's what I'm going to be looking at for earnings on Nvidia. This is a company who has done very well based off of their graphics card as well as the data centers. So the big thing that I'm going to be looking at here is any commentary associated with their potential acquisition of another semiconductor company, ARM. The reason that I am super bullish on Nvidia is because one of their key suppliers, TSM or Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, announced earnings last week, and they absolutely blew it out of the water. And they are a supplier for Nvidia, which leads me to believe that Nvidia has also been doing very well. Now, a lot of people have the exact same expectations that I do surrounding Nvidia, but the reason that they are concerned is due to their valuation. So you can see kind of we've got the price to earnings right here. They're nearly 3 times higher than their industry average. However, I do want to highlight that something that is not expected to go down is their growth rate. And you can already see here that the earnings per share growth is already going up nearly 43%, and the revenue growth is 26%. And if we're looking at this, this is an expectation that they expect to continue going into next year over the revenue over the total year and most recent quarter. So very bullish on Nvidia. This is a play that we're going to be watching as soon as possible, in particular over the course of the next week. So I'm really going to be looking at this week play where I want to watch it go from about 530 where it's at to about 580. And I'm going to be playing the options most likely, but we're going to look tomorrow morning on Monday. So lastly, let's take a look at NIO. So I've got on my screen the 5-day NIO chart. Again, NIO is the equivalent of Tesla. We've talked about them a lot on this channel over the past week, just due to the volatile nature that you see right here. One of the ways that I'm looking to play NIO is I already have my 100 shares of XPeng, which is another Chinese auto manufacturer. I actually sold out of my 55 shares of Li Auto, and it was pretty good. I sold them for around $39 a share. They're currently sitting around $31 a share, so I may buy back into that same position. NIO saw the exact same thing, so they had the huge run up and then back down, but they don't announce earnings till after hours on Tuesday. So I'm going to be watching them because I have the very high expectation that they're going to be doing the exact same thing as the other companies and announce very strong revenue growth as well as very strong delivery growth. A lot of people call this company the next Tesla, and that is largely due to the fact that they have a lot going for them in the Chinese auto market, as well as they are an electric vehicle with some auto driving functionality. So we're going to be watching them. Again, the options are incredibly expensive on stocks like this, so it may make sense to play the shares. Again, for $300, you can invest, get 12 shares or so, and then ride that up to $48, $49, $50 a share, and you've just bagged yourself 10, 12%. So that may be something that we look at doing. Again, it's really going to be a watch the stock and make the play. This is just my mindset going into it because it is a big mover. I don't know if I want to play the options. I think right now the options are sitting for a $50 move, which again would be right at 15%, is anywhere between $350 to $400 per option, and that's just for the end of the week. So that's what we're going to be looking at for NIO. I think that this is a great company to own 100 shares of and sell covered calls. That's what I'm currently doing with XPeng. And so just due to that nature, we're going to be watching the entire Chinese electric vehicle market this week. But in particular, we're going to be watching the NIO shares just because, again, I think that there's a lot of value associated with the company, even though that their valuation is insanely overblown at this point in time. But again, we're looking at not necessarily what they're going to be doing today, but what they're going to be doing over the next 3 years. So there's a lot of potential here, but again, this is a company that is going to be exciting to watch. And again, we may get a positive surprise. Something that would blow this valuation out of the water is if they come back with a positive EPS. But I'm skeptical of that happening at this point in time, but we will see. So going to be super exciting. This is going to be a fun week, a lot of moves, a lot of potential. So let me know in the comments below what you're watching below or this week and what's going to be making some big moves. So if you found this content helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks everyone. Talk to you later.